Dog.
Great conversations and education on relevant health issues management. Hello, Doc.
Hello, Doc.
Make a date with our health professionals on the drive with the area gang. Mondays 2:45 to 3 p.m. Hello, Doc. Hello, Doc.
Hello, Doc.
Good afternoon, Doc.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm also good. You had a good weekend?
Not bad.
Not bad. That's nice. So, as I mentioned, we have here in the studio Dr. Esther Yesutor Agbozo, who's a medical doctor with the Wejagbawe Municipal Hospital. Today, we're going to be talking about teenage pregnancy and its prevalence. I think teenage pregnancy is something that for a long time now, we've always been talking about it. But I hear recently it's on the rise. And that is why we need to have that conversation. So you're welcome, Doc.
Thank you.
So before we start, let's just set the tone for the conversation. What exactly is teenage pregnancy? And when we are talking about teenage pregnancy, what is the age range that we are looking at?
Okay. So when we say teenage pregnancy, because it says teenage, somebody would expect that we are usually talking about people between the ages of 13 and 19, right? However, when you look at what the World Health Organization tells us, it tells us that any pregnancy, so they actually call it teenage pregnancy or adolescent pregnancy.
Okay.
So any pregnancy in a young girl below the age of 20 is classified as teenage pregnancy, according to the World Health Organization.
Okay, so any young girl below the age of 20. That is teenage pregnancy. Okay. Yeah. So what are the current statistics when it comes to, Ghana and even elsewhere? What are the numbers that we are looking at?
Right. The WHO again tells us that right now, every year, right, we have 21 million girls getting pregnant. I mean, teenage girls.
21 million?
21 million.
Every year?
Every year.
That's serious,
That's
Wana.
very serious. Very serious. Right.
Wow.
21 million girls. And out of these 21 million, we have 12 of them actually giving birth. Right. Meaning that the remaining 9 million either have an abortion or they have a miscarriage. So it again tells us that it's alarming. Something has to be done about it.
And even the abortion conversation is a whole separate conversation. Because are they having safe abortions or they are just taking some drugs or inserting certain things?
It's unsafe abortions. Majority of them. The truth of the matter is that most of these young girls are even shy to show up in the hospital. And again, I think we health professionals also play a role in it. Because when they come, the sort of judgmental attitude and all that all comes to play. So most of them will end up with unsafe abortions rather than safe. They only come to us when there are complications.
Even sometimes as an adult, you go to the hospital, you want to run some routine tests, and the way the nurses will look at you, like, exactly. Are you not supposed to be happy and encouraging me that, it's good you've come to the hospital, continue doing it. Yes. But then they are going to look at you especially when they see that there's no ring on your finger. Yes. It's crazy. But let's look at it. Looking at, I know you've mentioned that every year 21 million young girls are getting pregnant. That is girls
globally.
Globally, girls below the age of 20. But let's cast our mind back a bit. Over the last decade, how has it been like? Has there been an improvement? Have the numbers reduced? Have the numbers increased? Or it's been a fluctuation? What exactly is the situation?
Right. So when we look at the global picture, over the last decade, the numbers have actually reduced. That is the global picture.
Okay.
Right. However, in our part of the world, we are almost at a standstill. We are where we are. Yes, because WHO is telling us that even though globally the numbers have reduced, there are specific regions where the numbers are either increasing or they are the same. It's plateaued. In Ghana, we are part of sub-Saharan Africa. So out of the 21 million we're talking about, majority is actually in our part of the world. So when you look at the Western world, they are having a decrement in the number of teenage pregnancies. So usually we look at it per 1,000 women, right? So initially we had about 64 per 1,000 women. Now globally we are looking at about 41 per 1,000 women. But when you come down to our part of the world, which is sub-Saharan Africa, we are recording hundreds per 1,000. You understand? So
that's a lot.
Yes. So even though globally, if we look at the global picture, the figures have reduced over the decade. Our part of the world, which is sub-Saharan Africa, we've not made much progress.
Yes. But I did hear some time ago that when it comes to Ghana, the central region has the largest prevalence of teenage pregnancy. I don't know how true that is.
It's true. It's true. Very true. The central region, I think it's because of the sort of activities that go on
over there.
Most people going there for tourism,
exactly,
excursions and all that.
I lived in Cape Coast, and then sometimes you look at these young girls and the kind of lives they, not to be judgmental or anything, but then Akola Oshana with this 16, with this 17, at where they are going, the kind of people that they are working with, and then you ask yourself, is it from the like what exactly is going on?
I mean, when we look at the causes of teenage pregnancy, I think
yes, I was going to come to that.
Yes, I think it's a lot of factors that come to play. The very first one I would talk about is the lack of education. You see, I tell my friends all the time that even if you are not rich because you went to school, the way education opens your mind, the sort of decisions that you make just because you went to school, is different from somebody who has never been to school. You see life differently. If you've been to school before. Even if you don't have money, just because you went to school, you see life
there's some sort of eye-opening. You are enlightened.
Yes. But for people who have not been to school, it's young konkwan, like anything goes, you know. They just go with the flow. Whatever comes, they take it, right? And so most of these young girls, because they don't have any education, again, they think that all that there is to life is to have babies. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Some of them think that is all
that there Cape Coast where the 18 now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it comes back to lack of education. The second thing is poverty. We are in a country where a lot of people can't even afford 3 square meals a day. These young girls you're talking about in Cape Coast, most of them end up like that because some gentleman told them, oh, I'll give you 10 cedis to buy Indomie. It's not even anything substantial. Exactly. Very little things. Some of these girls come from homes where they don't even have food to eat. So if somebody's going to give them food, I mean, nothing comes free. So they have to pay a price.
So they have to pay a price.
Exactly. And then the price, as they are paying the price, they end up getting pregnant along the line. Another thing we can look at is accessibility to contraceptives. Now, you see, whether we like it or not, some young girls are going to engage in sexual activity. I think it's about time where we normalize conversations about contraceptives.
Yes.
Because most of the time when we talk about family planning, as people usually call it, people look at it in a certain light. Now, some of these girls, if you don't give them the family planning method, they are going to get pregnant. So if a young girl comes to the hospital and they are pregnant, usually I tell their mothers, when she delivers, please, family planning.
Yeah, that's the next thing.
If you think that your advice or your warning or your beating is going to change anything, you are lying to yourself. The harm is done.
Yeah.
So let's protect her so that even if she goes back to have sex, she doesn't come back pregnant again.
Yeah.
Then of course we've talked about we the health professionals, our attitude also prevents people from seeking health education, which would help them prevent some of these things. Yeah.
So you're still tuning to Hello Doc. We are talking about teenage pregnancy, and we are doing this with Dr. Esther Yesutor. I hope I got the pronunciation right. Yesutor Agbozo from the Weja Agbawi Municipal Hospital. She was just telling us about some causes of the teenage pregnancy. She mentioned lack of education, poverty, and then also the attitude.
Ability to contraceptives as well.
Yes, and then also the attitude of certain health professionals. Yes. So now that we've laid the foundation, we know what the teenage pregnancy is, we've talked about the causes and all that, let's look at some common complications that can arise when such a young girl gets pregnant and then decides to go the full term.
Right. So you see, because for most of these young girls, their bodies are not ready or prepared enough to be able to go through the stress of pregnancy. Pregnancy is a very stressful state for any woman, even for matured women
who are even ready for it.
Yes, pregnancy is a different ball game. If you come to the labor ward and you see the things that we see on a daily, you will know if you want to get pregnant. I'm not ready to get pregnant. Right, because of the things I see on a daily. Because pregnancy is a different ball game altogether. So when these young girls are exposed to pregnancy when their bodies are not ready, they become prone to having conditions that are meant for old people. Just 2 days ago, I had a young girl. She's just 18 years. She's pregnant, almost about to deliver. Her BPs are over the roof. High blood pressure is a disease for old people.
Now 18 years.
18 years. What are you doing with high blood pressure? Just because she's pregnant, she's gotten it. You have young girls come in and have conditions like diabetes just because they are pregnant. Diabetes, again, it's a disease for old people. What are you doing with diabetes at 18 or 16 or 17? Right? Then again, when you have something like the high blood pressure, you are prone to have a condition we call pre-eclampsia or eclampsia, where some of these young women can have convulsions just because of the high blood pressure.
Okay, so let's double back a little. The pre-eclampsia you're talking about is convulsions.
So pre-eclampsia is something that leads to eclampsia. So eclampsia is the convulsion.
So what is eclampsia, just for the benefit of the listeners?
So eclampsia is when you have a pregnant woman with high blood pressures, damage to her kidneys, and it is now affecting her brain, and she has a convulsion. That's eclampsia. So before the convulsion happens, we call it pre-eclampsia.
Okay, I say a mild warning. Yes. It gives the warning signs.
Yes, exactly. So some of these young women will come in with pre-eclampsia, some will end up with eclampsia. Then during the delivery period, because again the pelvis is the bone it's not well developed to carry a baby. Yes, so some of them will not be able to deliver the baby. So most of the time they will end up in cesarean sections. And I mean, we know any surgery comes with its own complications, and a CS is a surgery. And so at the end of the day, some of these young girls may end up with infections. Some of them will end up with vaginal tears that are just 2 days ago. This young 18-year-old
that you're talking about,
she delivered and she had a tear, and it was so bad. Yes. And I mean, when you look at some of these things, I keep asking myself, how did we get here? And it's very important to understand that some of the complications that we are talking about can even take the lives of both the mother, which is the teenage girl, and the baby. Sometimes some of them will have babies with complications, because as we are trying to get them to push the baby out, they don't have the energy. Yes, and so by the time the baby comes out, there are issues. Some of the babies may have brain damage and all that.
I was going to ask you, what are some of the health complications that come as a result of this teenage pregnancy? So I'm glad you touched on that.
Yes, so for even the babies, innocent babies, usually I say that nobody chooses who they are going to be born to. So an innocent baby is sitting with God. You decide to go and get pregnant, and because you're not ready to deliver this baby, by the time the baby comes out, there's a complication. Some babies can end up with things as bad as cerebral palsy. Some can,
Down syndrome.
Yes, you see, some of these things can be avoided if these teenage pregnant women were a little bit mature, right? We would know that ABC can be avoided. And again, because they are teenagers, most of them don't even come for antenatal care because they
don't even know what it is.
Yes, they are shy. And so some of the things that we pick up during pregnancy that can be avoided, we don't pick them up. They only come to us when they're about to deliver, and it's too late to do anything about it.
Because they are not even taking their pills, no folic acid, no vitamin C, nothing.
Yes.
Just going through the process.
Yeah.
Let's so Doc, let's quickly look at what are some effective strategies for preventing teenage pregnancy. I know in the beginning you've spoken a bit about that, but let's quickly brush over that again. Yeah.
Yes. So you see, when we are looking at teenage pregnancy, I think we should start from the top. So from the top, we are looking at our policy makers.
Okay.
Right. So it's very important that our policy makers make it easy for people in most of the teenage pregnancies occur in very rural areas, right? And areas where the socioeconomic statuses are low. So our hospital like this, we see it a lot because the socioeconomic group of people we do are not people who are rich people, right? They are in the middle or down there. So most of the time, some of these people come in pregnant. Our policymakers need to make sure that these young girls are exposed to as much education, sexual health education as possible, and also they should have exposure to contraceptives. I'm going to say it again that in as much as we are preaching abstinence, we know that some young girls are not going to be abstinent. I
have always said that I think we've moved past that abstinence conversation.
Yes, so
we need to equip them.
Yes, we need to prepare them that even if they're going to engage in sexual activity, they should know how to protect themselves, right? Then we come down to parents. Parents have a crucial role to play. I say it all the time that a lot of us from African homes can literally say that I don't remember my mom sitting me down to have a conversation with me about sex before.
She won't.
Exactly, because they think that when they have that conversation, the children will become spoiled.
Bad children.
That is not true. If you as a parent, you don't teach them what they need to know, you need to understand that their friends are going to teach them. Or some gentleman
or the internet.
Teach them. Or the internet now is going to teach them what is wrong. And that is what they are going to pick. So our parents need to normalize having some of these conversations with us. Telling a young girl, if a man tells you to enter my room, just last week a 13-year-old girl came and said she has a neighbor in her house who has been sleeping with her for the past year. Her mom has no idea. Right, they live in the same house. The man would tell, first time he told her, come to my room and pick slippers. And that was it.
Slippers, what they call it then?
If the mother had told her, if a man tells you enter my room alone, you don't go.
Or if someone touches you, come and tell me.
So this has gone on for a whole year. This woman has no idea.
So she got pregnant.
And now the mother came and she was all over. And I said, Madam, it was happening right under your nose.
You didn't know.
Year. 1 year. It's not the one time. It's been going on for a whole year.
Wow.
You see, so our parents need to normalize having these conversations with young people, that when they get to a certain stage, you need to understand that whether you tell them or not, they are going to be exposed. Right? And then we come to we the health workers. I think we also have a good role to play. It's important that we begin to do a lot of health education, tell people about teenage pregnancy, tell these young girls, go to the schools, the churches, let them know that they can protect themselves. And if they do get pregnant, they shouldn't be shy to come to the hospital. Yeah. Now, I always say that the fact that somebody has gotten pregnant, I know people will probably, the Holiko people will,
the religious people will come for you,
but I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I say that the fact that somebody has gotten pregnant doesn't mean they should carry the pregnancy to term. Especially depending on the circumstances of the pregnancy. Okay. If somebody gets pregnant from rape or defilement or incest, I don't think they should carry the pregnancy to term.
I think even with that, the law allows it.
Yes,
the law allows it.
Because if the pregnancy is going to jeopardize the life of the young person, I don't think they should carry the pregnancy to term. I know a lot of people will not agree with me, but I've said it anyway. That is my opinion, right? And even the laws of the country agree with us, because it has been said that 1 in every 8 young people would be sexually abused before their 18th birthday. So some of these teenage pregnancies are from sexual abuse. And I don't think that we should allow these young girls,
even just the trauma alone,
then they have to live with a baby
for the rest of their lives. A constant reminder.
Yes, come on. So I think that we need to do our part as health workers. When they do come to us, maybe a young girl comes that she wants to do family planning, don't look at her with, bombastic
don't preach you.
Don't preach her, just help her out, because whether you preach her or not, she'll
do it either ways. Yeah.
So I think we can also do our, and then society, because there are some religions that give our young girls at very young ages for marriage. So we need to revise all some of these societal norms and values so that we can help bring the numbers down.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying the conversation, but unfortunately producer has signaled to me that Charlie time or so. But quickly, before you go, let's look at what healthcare services and support are available for these pregnant teenagers. I know you've touched on that, but then let's just get to know, if for example I'm a teenager, I'm 18, I'm 19, I find myself pregnant and I don't have the backing of my parents. What can I do? What healthcare services are available for me, or what help is available for me?
Right. So once you get pregnant, it will be good if you have the backing of your family, so that you can come for antenatal visits. When you come for your antenatal visit, we run labs to make sure that everything is okay. We will do a scan to make sure that everything is okay. Now, if you don't have the help of your parents or your family, and you do want to carry the pregnancy to term, that is why we have the social welfare coming. So in the hospitals, we have social welfare workers in the premises, such that when you come, maybe you don't have money to pay your bills and all that, we call them to come and help you.
Oh, okay.
So there is help available. It is not a hopeless situation. We do believe that even after the teenage pregnancy, your life can still go on. Yeah. So as much help as you need, when you do come to the truth of the matter is that once you enter the hospital, we don't have a choice but to help you, whether you're a teenager or not. So you can just come, and believe you me, you would have a lot of help available. Yeah.
So there's a lot of help available, but the most important thing is that you need to protect yourself, especially if you are a child. I mean,
yes. And then the men who are sleeping with their teenagers, they should stop.
Yeah.
They should stop.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're a man, you slept with a teenager, shame on you.
Shame on you.
You need to repent.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you need to repent. Thank you so much, Dr. Esther Yesutor. So we've been speaking to Dr. Esther from the Agbozo Municipal Hospital. We've been talking about teenage pregnancy, its prevalence, and then what we can do as a society to curb this. I think it's a menace, right? I'm right to call it a menace. So what we can do as a society to curb this menace. This is still the drive with the area gang.